Night falls, shadows lengthen, the world transforms. What was familiar becomes alien, safe becomes sinister. This is the time when stories are best left untold, secrets kept buried. Yet some tales demand to be shared, whispered from trembling lips in the dead of night. Tales born from the darkest corners of the earth, where the veil between our world and the next wears thin. These are stories of the restless dead, the echoes of tragedy and the chilling touch of the unknown. From the heart of South America, where ancient spirits roam beneath star-dusted skies, to the sun-drenched plains of Mexico, where curses linger like venomous serpents, we journey into the abyss of fear. Prepare yourself, dear reader, for tonight we delve into the darkness. Tonight we face the whispers in the dark. The air hung heavy with humidity, the silence broken only by the rhythmic chirping of crickets. The headlights of Ernesto's truck cut through the thick Paraguayan night as he navigated the winding road home. He switched on the radio, seeking solace in the familiar comfort of music. Static. Frowning, Ernesto adjusted the dial, searching for a clear signal. A voice, faint and distorted, crackled through the speakers. It spoke in hushed, urgent tones, describing a lonely stretch of road, a truck much like his own. He tried to change the station, his hand trembling slightly. The voice persisted, growing clearer, the details more specific. The dented passenger door, the faded bumper sticker, the scent of yerba mate lingering in the air. Ernesto slammed on the brakes, his blood turning to ice. The voice on the radio chuckled, a dry, rasping sound that seemed to slither from the speakers and wrap around his throat. "Don't worry, Ernesto," it whispered. "We're almost home." Miguel gripped the steering wheel, his knuckles white as ghosts as he drove deeper into the heart of Guerrero. The mountains loomed, shrouded in an unnatural mist that seemed to writhe and coil like living smoke. It had started with a chance encounter, a desperate plea for help from an old woman with eyes like burning coals. He hadn't believed her then, dismissed her warnings as the ramblings of an old crone. Now, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of blood orange and bruised purple, doubt turned to icy terror. The car sputtered and coughed, the engine groaning in protest as if struggling against an unseen force. Outside, the shadows lengthened, twisting into grotesque shapes that danced at the edge of his vision. The old woman's words echoed in his mind. The mountains hold their secrets close, but the spirits are restless. He had scoffed, but now the air thrummed with unseen energy, a palpable sense of dread that pressed down on him like a physical weight. He was not alone. Section 4, The Shadowy Harbinger. Death in the Andes. The icy wind howled through the desolate Andean peaks, a mournful symphony that echoed across the barren landscape. Young Gabriela huddled closer to her grandmother, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and fascination. "Abuela," she whispered, her voice barely audible above the wind's lament. "Is it true? About the Shadow Man?" Her grandmother, her face weathered and etched with the wisdom of generations, nodded slowly. "They say he wanders these mountains, a harbinger of death," she murmured, her voice low and laced with warning. A tall figure cloaked in darkness with a wide-brimmed hat that hides his face. Gabriela shivered, pulling her shawl tighter around her shoulders. She had heard the whispers, the hushed tales of the Shadow Man who stalked the mountain paths, appearing only when death was near. Her grandmother claimed it was just a story, a legend, to keep children from straying too far from home. But Gabriela had seen him, a fleeting glimpse of darkness against the snow-covered peaks, his presence as chilling and undeniable as the biting Andean wind. Section 5. The Unseen Passengers. Ernesto gripped the steering wheel, his knuckles white as the spectral voice on the radio detailed every turn he made, every thought that flickered through his terrified mind. Miguel fought to control the car as shadowy figures darted across the road, their eyes glowing with an eerie internal light. Gabriela watched in terror as the shadow man appeared on the horizon, growing larger with each passing moment. Each man, a world away, connected by an invisible thread of fear, the chilling realization that they were not alone. Something was wrong, terribly wrong. The air crackled with unseen energy, the boundaries between the real and the supernatural blurring like watercolors on a canvas. The stories had always been there, whispered warnings passed down through generations. Legends, they called them, mere superstition. But as darkness tightened its grip, as the boundaries between worlds continued to erode, they were forced to confront a terrifying truth. Sometimes the whispers are real. Section 6. Echoes of the Unknown. The radio in Ernesto's truck fell silent, the static replaced by an eerie quiet that was somehow more unnerving than the ghostly voice. He had stopped the truck, engine sputtering in the middle of the road, the headlights illuminating nothing but empty asphalt stretching into the darkness. He was alone. Or was he? Miguel slammed on the brakes, the car skidding to a halt, throwing up a cloud of dust that swirled around him like a phantom. The figures were gone, vanished as quickly as they had appeared. He sat there, heart pounding, the silence deafening. Was it over? Gabriela squeezed her eyes shut, tears streaming down her face as the shadow man loomed closer. She could feel his icy breath on her cheek, the scent of damp earth and something ancient and unknowable. This was it, she thought. This was the end. 3 souls on the brink of terror, connected by the unseen forces that govern the spaces between this world and the next. The night stretched on, a canvas of darkness upon which their fears were projected in stark relief. And as the first rays of dawn pierced the darkness, they were left to grapple with the chilling echoes of the unknown. Section 7. Conclusion: A World Unveiled. The sun rose, casting long shadows across the land, chasing away the phantoms of the night. Ernesto continued his drive home, the silence in the truck deafening, the memory of the voice still echoing in his mind. Miguel cautiously continued his journey, the mountains no longer menacing but holding a new, unsettling beauty. Gabriela opened her eyes to find herself safe in her bed, the nightmare fading but the memory of the shadow man lingering like a cold draught. Life resumed its normal rhythm, the world seemingly returned to its familiar order. But something had shifted. The veil had been lifted, if only for a moment, revealing a glimpse of the raw, untamed power that lies just beyond our perception. The whispers in the dark had spoken, and they had listened. From now on, they would walk a little differently, their senses heightened, forever aware of the delicate balance between the seen and the unseen. For they had learned a chilling truth that night. The world is not always as it seems, and sometimes the stories we tell ourselves to ward off the darkness are nothing but whispers in the wind. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next episode of Secrets of Darkness.